Welcome into the 8th and final episode of Eldredge Extra, and we are excited to be joined by first-year Orleans assistant coach Brock Bond. I'm Foster Nicholas, Dylan Pescatore, and Ian Nicholas alongside as well. But it's good to talk to you, Coach. And first of all, how's it going?
Hey, going great. Yeah, I'm down at in Missouri, Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri right now. So really nice to join you guys.
Well, I mean, where I want to start off is because I'm curious. It is your first time up there
Mhm.
coaching with Orleans. So curious, how'd you get in contact with Kelly, and what was it like learning that, yeah, you're going to get to do this summer?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I had a minor league career. Then took a step back from baseball and took a little break. And this past year, I decided to get back into baseball and get more serious about it in the coaching realm. I thought I needed some experience in coaching, and I started reaching out to some teams, and I came across Kelly's email address and sent my resume to him. And then he reached back out to me and said, "Hey, we'll stay in contact." And then around Thanksgiving, he gave me a phone call, and I talked to him for a little bit. And then about a week later, he offered me the position.
Well,
So
coach, you weren't just some professional baseball player. You hit 300 in the minor leagues. You were always found ways to get on base, a strikeout rate under 15%. You knew what you were doing at the plate, but how do you think your experience as a player, you mentioned Missouri, growing up in the St.
mhm.
Louis area where, baseball is king. How do you think your background in baseball and then your playing career has shaped you into the coach that you've been and will be in Orleans?
Well, yeah, thank you for mentioning that. I had some really good coaches. So at University of Arkansas to start, then I decided to transfer closer to home back at University of Missouri. Then I was drafted by the Giants and worked my way up to AAA. And yeah, they had a great organization. I was in AAA for two of the World Series championships they won. Unfortunately, I never got the call to or get a cup of coffee to the big leagues, but I came close. I went to big league camp in 2013. So I think all the experiences that I've had as a player has kind of molded me into a decent coach at this point. I do have a lot to learn, but that's all I want to be is kind of a positive influence on the players because I know the game can be super challenging, and with the Cape Cod, you're getting the cream of the crop, and yeah, as a hitter, I had a pretty good strike zone awareness, and I'm just going to keep things simple with the hitters and try to have fun with them this summer.
Kelly mentioned to us that you'd also be coaching third base and be the hitting coach, working with the hitters that had so much success last season. But you mentioned your minor league career with the San Francisco Giants. A coach that you mentioned a lot in prior interviews has been Steve Decker. He stuck with you
Mhm.
for a lot of years. So what kind of impact did he have on your career being a coach to player relationship?
Yeah, Steve, we call him Deck. He was a great coach. He coached differently with all players. It wasn't one size fits all. So he worked with me and knew my approach. And my approach was keep things simple, get on base, don't try to be a home run hitter. So I think I'll work like that with all the players too, is kind of learn what their strengths are and kind of enhance those strengths and work on the weaknesses and not try to, make everybody a power hitter or an on base kind of guy. So everybody's different. So I'll just keep things simple with each player and get to know them a little bit in the background and like I said, stay up the middle, keep things simple, and play ball and play hard.
Do you think that mindset is kind of tougher to instill on today's players when the new analytics of launch angle and trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark all the time is kind of, really taking a big interest in a lot of these guys? How do you get them back to basics?
That's a good question. I think the information is very valuable that we get from analytics and it supports us. But at the end of the day, you've still got to hit the ball and hit good pitches and keep things simple. And we saw that last year with Coach Bochy. I played with him in 2013 in big league camp. He's old school, but he likes the new information as well. But you kind of got to have a little bit of both, I think. And so you get the full range of the experience as a player. You use all the information and it's very valuable, like I said. But at the end of the day, it's baseball is baseball, and it's been like this for over a century. So you got to kind of see ball, hit ball sometimes.
You mentioned being with the Giants organization that led the likes of playing with Bumgardner and Posey and Brandon Crawford and what are some of the approaches that those guys had that stood out to you and maybe impact the way that you see the game and approach coaching?
Yeah, so basically you play to the level of your competition. So playing with those guys, I felt made me a better player. I did come up with all those guys and played in AAA with Posey and Baumgartner and in AA with Crawford up the middle. But I just found that they had natural talent, obviously, but they were gamers and they were really focused when they played, and they didn't let distractions creep in. And so that kind of rubbed off on me. I felt that, yeah, we're here to play baseball, so let's have fun and play the game right. And yeah, and they played in an authentic way. So at the top level, and as you could see, they had great careers. So coming forward, and Crawford's now with the St. Louis Cardinals. So I've been following him throughout his career, and yeah, he's had a great career. So it's been fun to follow.
Your dad used to work, what was it, a connection with Busch Stadium there? You used to grow up going to the ballpark and just and being around there, and a special connection there, right?
Correct. Yeah, he actually installed some of the seats in Busch Stadium back in the day. So I used to go there and hang out and run around the field a little bit. So that was a good special experience, and grew up going to games and always dreamed of playing professionally. When I got to Mizzou, my goal was to make AA because one of my coaches made it to AA, and I thought, man, that would be a really, high level to play at. So I'm going to make that my goal, and I surpassed that and made it to AAA and came close to getting called up. But yeah, growing up in St. Louis, it's a baseball town, and the fans are diehard and very knowledgeable of the game. So yeah, even from a young age, I was around good baseball people and carried that through into college and on the pro, and hopefully I'll carry that with me in my coaching career as well.
You talked about a little bit of a natural talent that some of those, major league all-stars that you happen to, whether it was in the minor leagues or whether you went to major league camp that one year in 2013. But, you can't be great in the game of baseball if you don't have a good head on your shoulders. And you mentioned gamer, but, Orleans put so much focus into that with, Jay Banfield. I don't know if you've had the chance to talk with him, but bench coach, and he's a big part of the mental side of Orleans from a coaching perspective. So how do you think, I know you've done a little bit of work with meditation, and that's really important to you. When did you realize that was something that you needed to focus on in your game, and now as a coach, something that you hope to instill to the guys?
Yeah, so baseball is a super mental game, and it can get stressful at times, so it's really important to stay even keeled. Coming up to the Giants, I didn't have a technique. I did visualization and things like that helped me, but I learned a technique called transcendental meditation when I was playing with the Orioles. And what it does is it allows your mind to naturally quiet down really easily. And then you get a deep rest while you're doing it. And you do it 15 to 20 minutes twice a day. And then after you do it, you just go about your day and don't try to make a mood of it or anything. But that quietness kind of stays with you after you practice the technique. And so I found it very valuable. A Orioles fan reached out and told me about that. So I started studying it while I was playing, and then I decided to get a master's degree after I was playing, basically in the meditation, and I studied transcendental meditation. And what it is a simple, natural, effortless technique you practice, like I said, twice a day for 15, 20 minutes, just sitting comfortably with eyes closed. And I found it super valuable. And having Jay on the staff is super helpful as well, because, at a young age, you don't know which way to go sometimes. And sometimes you need some direction and just stay balanced, and having a mental skills coach is super valuable. So later in my career with the Giants, we did have a mental skills guy that stepped in and kind of helped keep positive, help reset your mind and be positive, and kind of focus on what the next task is at hand. So yeah, the mind is super important, and TM is what it's called also, is a valuable technique that I think Tom Brady practices it, and Tyler Glasnow practices it, and Marcus Stroman from the Yankees as well learned TM. So yeah, I recommend it to any baseball players that wants to kind of quiet their mind and achieve, their full potential.
Marcus Stroman, of course, a former Firebird, and had a great outing last night with the Yankees as well. Like you said, you went into the meditation field, you got the master's in it. What drove you back to coaching? You're now at Quincy University as the infield coach. You said something kind of turned in your mind. What was it, and what got you back into the baseball coaching field?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I put so much into it into my career, and it was kind of nice to take a break from it and put my mind on other things. But at heart, I'm a baseball guy. It's what I know. And yeah, and I'm trying to make a career of it. It's kind of in a practical level. It's what I know and it's what I enjoy. And I want to make an impact on the younger generation of ball players because, like I said, I know the game can get really challenging, and there's a lot of things that are out of your control when you play the game. So yeah, I just want to help the guys succeed, and that's fulfilling for me as a coach and as a meditation teacher as well, to just be a positive influence on the guys.
So with that, I'll wrap it up with one final question. I'm really curious, what are you most excited for this summer, and have you been on the Cape before?
I have not been to the Cape. I played in Norwich, Connecticut in AA, which is, I guess, fairly close to the Cape. And I did go to Boston and traveled up in the Northeast area for that during that season. Yeah, I just look forward to being around the super talented players. These guys are dedicated, and yeah, and just playing the game the correct way and learning from Kelly and his staff. Because I talked to Mark Hallberg recently. He's the first base coach in the big leagues with the Giants. And he said Kelly's a super big mentor to him. So I look forward to just learning, and then mainly learning, and then also helping the players with, as they come through, they have a game, they need a tip or something. Hopefully I can help them with that. But I'm not here to try to change the way they play the game. I'm just here to kind of guide them and, like I said, be a positive influence. So I'm really looking forward to just kind of being around the atmosphere of Orleans. And I heard you guys draw very well. So I'm looking forward to meeting the fans, and signing up to be a coach at Orleans has been a super smooth process too. And dealing with the general manager, Sue Horton, and everybody's been super nice. So I'm really excited to be around that kind of atmosphere this summer.
Well, we appreciate your time, Coach, and obviously super excited for this summer as we're closing in on opening day.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Really nice to meet you guys, and I look forward to seeing you guys in person.